caught interest because he was paying, more royalties to all of the artists.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it just went crazy.
Well, recently I just saw something about 50 Cent trolling Jay-Z. And apparently Tidal has, it's continued to have some more money woes. According to a Norwegian news source, the Jay-Z-owned streaming service is reportedly facing some pretty severe money problems. Not long ago, Tidal sold 33% of its shares to Sprint for $200 million, giving it access to the telecom company's 45 million customers. Now, is the industry hating on Jay-Z's Tidal? Is Spotify in a similar boat in terms of profitability and payout to artists, or do you think Jay-Z can save Tidal?
I don't know. I don't think they're hating on him. I think it's just, right now, anything's going to come out. And if you have a big name like that on something, obviously it's going to catch, fire very quickly. I just think that I know the subscription to the app is high. It's very high. And Jay-Z wants to make everybody happy, but you got to have money coming in to support that whole business and keep everybody happy. Producers, creative, artists, you know what I mean? Everybody, and then the public. So I know that they, do free subscriptions, and I know all this because of my game app. So it's like you could put a free trial out there or whatever and get those downloads, but it don't mean you're making that money. So we never know what's monetarily going on behind the scenes, but I see it happening. Now, Jay-Z's a smart businessman, so he's going to implement something else that's going to work, come out with a brand new, probably push advertisement-wise, and I think he can save it.
Yeah, I think it just it requires him to stay ahead of the curve because it's constantly evolving in terms of, streaming and what the opportunities are. And I think Jay-Z is, a cool enough iconic figure that whatever he's kind of aligned with is going to get a look. So I
make it work. Yeah.
I hope he can weather it, man. I mean, I'd like to see him be successful. He's done some incredible things. So, we'll see, God willing, what happens with that. Now, in France, no smartphones allowed. Now, the country of France is set to impose a total ban on students using mobile phones in primary and secondary schools starting in September 2018. Its education minister has confirmed. Phones are already forbidden in the classroom, but starting next school year, students will be barred totally for taking them out at breaks, lunch times, and between lessons. Porn is one of several distractions that the education minister is making the call on. Teachers and parents are divided over a total ban, however, with some saying children must be able to live in their time. In France, some 93% of 12 to 17-year-olds own mobile phones. So, could America be next, and do you think this is the right move or a smart move?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think in school you're there to do a job, just like in the work business or whatever. It's one of those things, though, where the world is dependent upon technology and being in their phones, but a lot of it is just for oneself. It's really not, you know what I mean? Unless it's a class or something like that. But I 100% agree on taking phones out of the schools just so the kids can focus and get, they're not focusing. They're not even here. They're not retaining information. They're not, you know what I mean? I see it with my nephews and nieces, but I don't think it's a bad idea. No,
I don't. I think that we live in a world full of instantaneous distractions. And,
Absolutely.
I just know, phones are a way to, I think, technology can also be a means of diminishing interaction, personal interaction. So,
yeah.
In the school setting, it's important to kind of get that development going at an early enough age.
Absolutely.
Where, as they transition into adulthood, it just makes sense. So I think there is something to that. You know what I mean? So, we'll see
think so too.
if it comes to America. But, these kids nowadays, they
they'll find a way.
They find
but
a damn way.
I don't know if it'll work. I'm up for it. It's 6 hours out of the day.
They'll put an app on that ass to make sure that whatever they want to do gets done the way they want to do it. Okay, now, speaking of that, let's talk about big data and the 1 Minute Man. So, big data is used to analyze or reveal patterns, trends, and associations, especially relating to human behavior and interactions. Now, when it comes to sex, expectations and reality can be on opposite ends of the spectrum. And a recent global study about how long the typical sex session lasts is a perfect example of this. Now, The survey from the UK-based dating website, saucydates.com. Saucy dates, okay. It was answered by 3,836 men and women, and they were asked how many minutes they wanted sex to go for. Not foreplay, just the main event. So, surprisingly, women on average said their ideal sex session would go for 25 minutes and 51 seconds. Men on average wanted their ideal romp to run 25 minutes and 43 seconds. So, it looks like the women got the men by about 8 seconds. On average, humans having sex lasted about 16 minutes, according to big data. What do you think of the data that is presented, Hoops? Do you think that's accurate?
Absolutely. Definitely feel like it's accurate. I was like, we're just going to be just honest over here.
We're just being honest. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. I don't, like, even if I do like you a little bit, I probably don't want it to go more than 5 or 10 minutes. I'm good with a quick... Listen, I'm so good with just... First of all, it is so crazy to just be putting something in and out for that long. Like, y'all don't know how that feels. You don't want to just keep on... just keep
on. He's just like
just keep on keeping on. Like, okay, bye. Let's just move on with our day. Like, no, unless we're just dedicating the night, but that's still too much. So I think the numbers are definitely accurate. Definitely accurate.
Okay. I mean, well, let's see. Big Daddy, you better get Big Daddy, you better get this thing right. That's all I'm saying. I just know. I was like, okay. 25 minutes.
Why? Is that too short for you?
25 minutes is good. No, that's a good enough time. I mean, and you're right, because
that's just the act.
After a while. I feel like a machine. I will feel like data.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's all you're doing is pumping and...
I'm being like a cyborg.
Like that's what... Who wants to just keep on going like that? No.
I feel like an android right now. I'm like...
Yeah. And that after... yeah, well, true enough. See that? And then after that, really, you're just seeing how many moves each of you got. That's what you're going to be counting afterwards. Like,
you better, like, boy.
You know how many times you got to reset in 25 minutes? You got to keep resetting. Like, you got to start all over again.
Come on, man.
We can keep going.
Come on, man. Whatever you do, you better bring your A game. Whatever you do, you better figure. See, you know what? I will say this. If you are able to create a Born on the 4th of July within 10 minutes, you are a special person. Because I'm just saying that because,
really?
you need... No, you're just... I mean, if you can consistently just do that...
Just keep on, yeah.
Like, within... I mean, if you can have mind-blowing sex in 10 minutes, like, just because, I mean, if you can consistently create that experience, you're a beast, whoever you are. And I want to... and there's something to be learned.
Are you...
It can be done.
Clear. Does this mean in 10 minutes being that long to keep doing it, and then, like, or are you saying make it last 10 minutes?
No, if it lasts 10 minutes and everybody is like, wow, that was,
happy.
And everybody's satisfied. I mean, both parties are satisfied, then, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Because I think, I personally think as a man, though, you definitely want to make sure you're satisfying a woman. I think that, you know what I mean? Because if that can be done without all that time, then you've maximized efficiency.
Happen, bro. I'm trying to tell you exactly. It can happen. And 3 good minutes done the right way is good for both people. Let me tell you.
Did
you
hear that?
Okay, if you're on the same page.
Check this out news.
That is all you...
Shout out to Hoops, a.k.a. Big Data. Big Data, she just told us. She just gave us... That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. All right? So Hoops, with that being said, we're going to transition. Since we're talking about sex, we're going to transition into food. All right? And we have an exclusive interview coming up with one of the lead chefs at Google, Kim Whittington. She's an executive chef at Google, and she's going to share how to eat healthy this holiday season. Some of y'all are probably making chitlins. Some of y'all are going to make tofu chitlins. Huh? Yeah, don't know. Some folks out there like, what is he talking about? You know some of y'all have been searching, even though you're vegan or whatever. But seriously, she's going to discuss how foods we eat impact and take a toll on our daily lives in this digital age. So that should be very, very interesting. So with that said, Hoops, for all this and so much more, tell them what they need to do. Hoops.
Go to techthisoutnews.com, y'all. We connect the street. And look for hashtag TechThisOutNews.
Each and every week right here on Tech This Out News, we like to get it in and make sure that we're highlighting some incredible and exceptional people in the world of tech in different capacities. And of course, some of you may be very aware the U.S. grocery market now worth $800 billion. Americans are shopping more frequently, and prepared foods and groceries are competing with restaurant sales. Amazon, which is driving a radical shift in online shopping, also is seeking some of your grocery habits and spending. So in the near future, there will probably be a two-class food system. One class will eat industrialized food. That sounds a little scary. Produced as cheaply as possible at the expense of its workers and natural resources. And everyone will be impacted by this. With us today, we have an executive chef at Google, Kim Whittington, to discuss healthy eating in this digital age. So we talked about the two classes. I don't want to know what the other class is, Chef Kim. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. And I must say, I've been to Google's campus, and that food is amazing. So,
Great.
What is a day in the life of a Google chef like?
Well, it starts about 5:30 in the morning if you're on the morning shift, and 1 p.m. if you're on the evening shift, because at Google, the employees get fed all day long.
Yeah.
At no expense to them. So sometimes I'm in the morning and sometimes I'm in the afternoon. I am a vegan chef there, but I do cook everything else, and I cook everywhere else to all kinds of tech companies I've been with. But there, it starts in the morning, coming in, checking the board, seeing who you're working with for that day, as far as your sous chefs, your master chefs, your sauciers, your chef de cuisines, and your prep cooks and your line cooks. Then you run through the board, you go have a morning meeting with your crew, because there are so many chefs at Google. So all of the chefs have a crew, and they line up in that fashion the way I told you. So you have your morning meeting with your crew, decide who's going to do what for the day, and then you go around and you watch and just check everything and make sure that it is executed in the fashion that you have your vision in. And a lot of creativity there's room for a lot of creativity, which I love about it. People are always coming up with some new ideas throughout the day. Someone might add something to something that's already been presented or is expected of them, and everybody will run over and say, hey, what did you do? Let me see, let me taste it. Oh, what does it mean? Blah, blah, blah. And we will change it and adapt if it is good. And all of us work together. It's a really great team effort. Awesome. So there's a lot of sharing and a lot of giving.
So what does it take to be a chef at Google, Chef Kim?
Well, it really takes that passion and drive, because as you know, Google is taking over the world by storm, and it is a very creative company, and they do allow for the people that work for them to be creative, which is wonderful. So it really takes that. I would say when you interview, it is 60% skills and 40%. Actually, no, I would say at this point now it's more 60%. If you can fit in with the team, 40% skills, because you can be taught everything that you need to know if you are on point. You can become what you need to become by just being there, being present, and getting the skills down, because the training and the tools are there right in front of you, hands-on. So it really takes that passion, that drive, that initiative in the initial interview, and then the second interview is usually a stage, and that's where you go in and you cook for them, or us for free. I wouldn't say for free, but it's like a working interview. So the first tier interview is an interview with HR. Someone interviews you pretty well. If you pass that, then you go to the second tier, and the second tier is where you go to one of the various cafes they would send you to, and it's called the stage, which is French for staging, and then you actually cook. They first send you to, you go throughout the kitchen. They'll tell you, okay, we need you to do this this particular cut or whatever of vegetables so we can see your knife skills. Then you move on and they ask you to prepare